Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Keto Chat. I am your host, Carole Freeman, and I'm a certified nutritionist and creator of the Fast Track to Keto Success program. Today, I'm super excited to be talking to Kristie. And hey, if you don't know who she is, you're going to know soon, but let me just tell you a little bit of her background. So Kristie Sullivan began her low-carb journey in 2013 after a lifetime struggle with obesity. Because of her personal success, she began helping others learn how to make a low-carb diet a delicious lifestyle. She established a YouTube channel, Cooking Keto with Kristie, and those of you that know her, you know her from there, and published a collection of easy, everyday low-carb recipes called Journey to Health, a journey worth taking. Kristie focuses on clean eating approach to very low carbohydrate diet. She also has a Facebook group called Simply Keto and a closed Facebook group called Low Carb Journey to Health, Cooking Keto with Kristie. Don't worry, we'll link those down in the show notes, so don't worry about trying to scramble and write those down now. Kristie is also part of the Diet Doctor team and writes weekly blog posts about making low carb, high fat a long-term lifestyle. And she lives in beautiful Sandhills region of North Carolina with her family. She holds a Ph.D. in educational research and policy analysis from North Dakota State University and works in higher education, assessment, evaluation, research, and accreditation. Welcome, 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 Kristie.
Hi there, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? How's your weather there? You guys have lingering summer humidity there in North Carolina?
You know what? This time of year is the perfect time. If you ever visit North Carolina, this is the time to do it. Our highs are usually in the 80s. Sometimes we get beautiful, perfect fall days that are in the low 70s, high 70s. So it's beautiful. I'm looking at incredible blue skies, and the leaves are starting to change. And so if you don't have seasons where you live, this is a beautiful time to be here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, you and I met at Keto. Well, no, we met in San Diego, at Low Carb San Diego, and then we also reconnected in a Low Carb, KetoCon in Austin, Texas. So I got to spend twice with you this year, and was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And you have such a great following because you're just you're a person that people can really identify with, and they're like, she is a real person, like she understands what I've been through. And how many followers do you have or subscribers do you have just on your YouTube channel now?
I think just on YouTube, it's 46,000 or so. I don't know. I've been so busy with other things, but yeah, I think about 46.
Yeah. Well, share with us, how did you get on this low carb kick? Like, share with us your story. I mean, so many people really identify with you because you're like every woman out there who has tried every diet under the sun, lost a ton of weight, but always gained even more back. And you finally got something figured out now, huh?
Yeah, it took me long enough.
Yeah.
I had tried everything, and I had been obese as a child. So even when I was 3 years old, it was a struggle. That's when I really started gaining weight. And I remember always being hungry. I remember going to dinner with my parents. We grew up in the South, and we had gone to the barbecue joint. And I don't know why we had gotten dinner to go. And I remember throwing a tantrum. And I was young. I was probably 4 or 5. But throwing a tantrum because I wanted 2 barbecue sandwiches. And I could not have been more than 4 or 5 years old. And I remember it so distinctly. I've never shared this story with anyone. But I remember it so distinctly because my parents argued about it. And my mom, I think, was of the mindset of, well, she's hungry, she wants it, let her get it, because she didn't want to restrict or deprive me of food. And I think my dad was kind of like, this is ridiculous. She's 4 or 5 years old, we've got to do something. Because I was obese probably. I don't know the exact numbers, but I was probably obese at that point. And so it was always a struggle. And I just remember always being hungry. I remember sneaking food from the kitchen. I remember being in the South, you grew up with a lot of extended family. So I would be at aunts and uncles' houses. And I remember just always kind of looking in the kitchen and what could I eat? And I know now why that was. I mean, obviously, my body does not process carbohydrate the way it should for whatever reason. And I needed that fat and protein instead of the carbohydrate, which is what we ate a lot of in the South, biscuits. And we got the high fat, but we also got the carbohydrate to go with it. And so I even had gastric bypass when I was just about to turn 30. And I really thought that was going to be the answer. And, you know, I don't think I went into it with all the information I needed, but even if I had had the information, I probably would not have listened to the warning signs. At the time, we didn't know that decades later I would have nutritional deficiencies. I would need to get intravenous iron treatments. We didn't know that, but I probably would have done it anyway. I was so desperate to lose weight. And as I've shared my story in other places, and my failure story, my video on YouTube that I call my failure story, I felt like such an incredible failure. I'd go to the doctor and they'd look at my chart, and here I was, 260, 275. I'd had the gastric bypass. I was 313 then, had lost down to about 178 pounds, and then started gaining right back. And so you're sitting there and you're talking to them about your weight, or I'm talking to them about my back pain because I have scoliosis and several issues. I was on 3 or 4 different medications. I was getting epidural steroid injections for the pain, still had limited mobility. Was looking at disability insurance, built our house, making it handicap accessible, thinking I would be in a wheelchair at some point. And they're looking at our chart and they're saying, well, Dr. Sullivan, if you lose weight, this will help your back pain. And I'm going, if I could lose weight, I wouldn't be here. And of course, they always tell you the low fat, restrict calories, eat less, move more, all of those things. And a few doctors would offer diet pills. It was that continued failure when I hit the point that I said, okay, enough's enough. I've been able to do everything I've ever wanted to do in my life. I have a Ph.D. I have 2 amazing kids. I have this phenomenal husband. I have a career where I'm well respected. I publish, and doggone it, why can't I do this? Yeah. It's not because I'm weak. It's not, there had to be something wrong. And so with my research background, I started reading medical journals. And I committed to 1,200 calories, low fat, used an app, probably MyFitnessPal, to log everything I ate, worked out for 2 weeks. First week, I probably lost, 8 pounds or so. Second week, lost nothing, not 1 ounce. And I remember being so desperate and calling a friend of mine and just saying, I can't live this way. I will not do this. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not sneaking the chocolate chip cookies. I am by the book, everything that I'm supposed to do. I had ordered supplements. I was taking bromelain. I would take anything. No regard for how it might interact with anything else I was taking. Any supplement that might help burn fat, I was on it. But anyway, and she said to me something pretty magical. I'm so grateful for her. She said, it isn't always about the calories. And she told me about Gary Taubes' book. And so I immediately ordered the book. Amazon tells me it was June 19th, 2013. The book came 2 days later. I read the entire thing. In the back of the book was Eric Westman's eating plan, the no sugar, no starch diet. He was up the road at Duke University. And so I thought, okay, this is a reputable resource, right? This isn't somebody selling me pills out of the back of a truck, which I would have bought. But anyway, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow this plan. And so I showed it to my husband, and he said, and I'm pointing my finger at it, look, you do this. And he's like, no bread, no pasta, no potatoes, no way. No, not doing it. And so I said, okay, fine. You don't have to. I'm going to do it. And he always lost weight with Weight Watchers and that kind of thing. I was miserable. I hated Weight Watchers. I'd lose weight, maybe a little bit, maybe a fraction that he lost, and then gain it right back because I was so starving all the time. But anyway, so I did it. And within 3 days, of eliminating or drastically reducing carbohydrate, I was no longer hungry. And that was the magic for me. That kept me here. And it's kept me here almost 4.5 years later, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't hungry. I wasn't looking at the clock. I wasn't, pulling food out of my desk drawer. I always had food in my car, or my desk drawer, in my pockets, in my purse. I always had something to eat. And I actually can go now, more than 12 miles from home and not pack any food. It's just like this miracle. So what I figured out, and I kept reading them because the junkie in me was so interested. So I started reading Finney and Bullock and The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living. And they have a phrase they use called carbon tolerant. And I do believe that's me. Just like some people are allergic to nuts, I think my body doesn't process carbohydrate efficiently. And so the more I knew the more I knew this, my body just responded so well. And I remember going through, just like everybody does, I called my general physician and said, I'm eating all this fat. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be dead of a coronary event by Christmas. Can you do all my labs? And so he brought me in, he did all my labs. And so I'd started in late June. This was in late August. And he called me. I had to leave him. That's another story. But he called me. He was so great about calling with labs. And he said, your labs, your lipid panel, they're better than they've ever been. So I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. And so that was what I needed. Now I know that I never should have even been worried about that stinking lipid panel, but I didn't know it at the time. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so it was after that when I started losing weight so dramatically and so easily. I mean, this was simply, in my mind, effortless. Because I always cooked. I was constantly trying to give my kids healthy foods, 5 a day, fruits and vegetables, all the low fat stuff. So I was already one of those moms who meal planned. I just had to do it differently. Mm-hmm. And so when it was so easy for me, that other people are looking around going, okay, wait a minute. She's lost weight. She's happy. She looks good. And she's eating some good. My friends call it my bacon and wine diet. They're like, she's eating really good food. Can I have some of that? What are you doing? And so that's when I started teaching classes. And I still feel this way. I've always felt very strongly that people who struggle with weight, with obesity, they've been taken advantage of so many times. Somebody always wants to sell you a pill or a supplement or a plan or an injection or something. They're going to make money off of you. And the FDA is not even well regulated, what you can do for weight loss. So I felt very strongly that this is something that I don't want people to have to pay for. This is just knowledge. It's free. It's out there. So I started teaching classes for free. And people they loved it. We talked about what's paleo, what's keto, what's low carb, various ways of doing that, because I'm not a nutritionist like you, and I'm a Ph.D. I'm not a medical doctor. So I had to be careful about the approach I took and what I was sharing. So it was more lifestyle and cooking. And so anyway, from the classes, I had a couple of friends locally who couldn't come when I was teaching. And so they said, will you do videos for us? So I started doing videos. Me with a cell phone, essentially. That was it. And my cell phone storage got full. My brother, who's much younger than I am, called me and said, you need to put those on YouTube. I said, no. And he's like, no, really? You need to put them on YouTube. And so, when the storage on the phone got full, I remember telling my husband, I guess I need to put them out there so people can get hold of them. Again, people I knew in real life who were friends of mine, maybe 10 people would watch this. My mom, maybe. I don't know. And so I put it out there, and I remember it was a Sunday afternoon. My husband's washing dishes. I'm sitting at the counter because I cook, he cleans the kitchen. I'm sitting at the counter, and I've got a Gmail account already, so it's so super, super simple to set up a YouTube channel if you have Gmail. And so I'm click to set this up, and I'm like, what do I call this? And my husband says, call it Cooking Keto with Kristie. And I go, okay. I mean, I don't even pick out a blouse that easily, no thought whatsoever. Plugged it in, done. And then, the next day, there were 100 subscribers. And then, by July, there were 1,000. And I wasn't putting it out there. I wasn't I don't know how to market. I wasn't hashtagging. I wasn't doing Instagram. It was just kind of me with the cell phone. And anyway, so yeah, 46K there. And then I had a private Facebook group. I only let in people that I knew in real life. And then eventually I opened it to others and decided I was going to cap it at 5,000 people. We have over 110,000 now.
Wow.
And it's grown just exponentially. And I can't even explain, again, I don't put it out there, I don't market it. The focus is always is help me help my people.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, what a wonderful story of just, authentically, trying to help people be, with the the experience that you had, right? Because, when I was in school, we learned, the stats about gastric bypass that statistically after 2 years or 2 years after the surgery, most people would have gained all the weight back. And that's not told to anybody. But like you said, even if it was, you wouldn't care. People don't care. And, I talk to people every day about their journey with all that they've tried for weight loss. and I just have to acknowledge for everybody that it's not that people that are overweight are weak-willed and lazy and, not trying, because I have to acknowledge that people that look for one more diet, yet one more time of feeling tired and hungry and miserable, and like those people have the most willpower of anyone, right? Like somebody who's never been overweight, they don't have any willpower. They don't have to have any willpower. And so people don't really understand the desperation. Like they get the message loud and clear that you have to lose weight to be healthy. Their doctors are telling it to them all the time. And so that's the reason that people will be willing to go to these links. And I don't know if you've seen this recently, but there's even this, new, I'm not going to name the name of it, but like a balloon that you can have put into your stomach, meant to be like a temporary thing. It's like, what is it, $10,000 or $6,000 or something like that. And it makes sense to me because I know people have tried everything else and they're looking for one more thing. Like, how do we solve this? And when I was in school, because the stats were so dire with having weight loss surgery and any other approach that we were being taught then, that there was no chance that people could ever lose the weight. So don't try to help them lose weight because they're just going to be miserable, right? You might as well help them just learn to love themselves. But the truth is, and what I went through is that that's just as miserable, right? Because you're constantly hungry and craving and you're inflamed and you're like lugging around all this extra weight, and that's not a better quality of life either. And so I so appreciate, high five, that getting this message out that there is an answer and there is a way of living that you can lose the weight, you can keep it off, you can eat delicious food, and you don't have to be constantly hungry all the time. And like your friend said, you're happy.
Well, and it's so interesting because I think that when I started this, and the reason I called the first cookbook Journey to Health, is because I started it for weight loss. Mm-hmm. And Helps makes this point in his book. So many times we start for weight loss. It was because I didn't want to be fat anymore. I didn't want to feel like it was an embarrassment to my husband and to my children. I wanted to wear pretty clothes. I wanted to feel good about me. And once I started getting into this, I realized that, okay, I'm obese because of the inflammation, because of other sickness. It's not that the weight is causing the sickness necessarily. They're associated, but it's the metabolic dysfunction that's causing the weight. Yeah. And once you deal with that and you regulate your blood sugars by eating high fat, moderate protein, very low carbohydrate for me, once you regulate that, then all of a sudden your body has access to those fat stores. And that was what was really eye-opening for me. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm carrying all this fat, all this extra weight, 100 extra pounds, but I'm starving. My body is physiologically hungry because it can't access the fat stores. It's all locked up. It's all saving for the zombie attack. And that's why I'm hungry. It's not that I'm psychologically addicted to food. There is a physiological reason for this. And once you lower your blood glucose, lower the insulin levels, and the fats unlock, it's like, I'm not hungry. I started missing meals. Like, holy cow, I've never missed a meal. I called my best friend. I'll never forget, sitting in my office, third day, I called my best friend. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Like, she's known me since first grade. And I'm like, I forgot to eat. Like, it was such a big deal. I'd eaten at 7 o'clock that morning or something like that. It was 3 in the afternoon, and I had not eaten. We had talked about people like that. We had heard that, like, that could be a reality, but that, like, actually happened. I was amazed. And she's laughing at me, and I'm going, no, I didn't eat. She's like, hey, what are you doing? And so I'm telling her, because obviously she's like that kind of friend who's gonna, if I'm not being healthy about it, she's gonna put me through the 20 questions. And so yeah, that's why I'm such a big mouth about it now. Like, that's why I want to tell everybody, like, I struggled so much. And you don't have to struggle. You don't have to struggle. Eat delicious food. Eat bacon, eat burgers. Like, my favorite meal is a big, fatty, juicy burger with cheese and mayonnaise and an egg, like a fried egg on top. Break that yolk. The yolk runs into that meat. Oh man, like, that is the best, most satisfying meal ever. And that's not a struggle. That's not weighing my spinach and weighing my tomatoes, and it's not using the fat-free dressing that has no flavor. It's like, no, give me the full fat ranch stuff. Hand me that mayonnaise. I'm gonna make a Parmesan peppercorn and enjoy my food and enjoy being healthy.
Yeah. So did you have a cooking background before you started doing your videos, or was it just like, mom that was a great cook from Southern upbringing?
Yeah, my mom is like my mom, my immediate mom. We laugh because she has like 2 or 3 dishes she fixes. So, but I grew up with my grandmother's cooking.
Okay.
So just one of those home cooks, and I loved food. I mean, I was always hungry, and so I loved food. And I was, in the South, we feed people. That's how we love them. We love them with food. And so, the grandmother would call and say, "I've got a pound cake for you." And then you get over there and she's like, "Oh, honey, I think you'd be so much happier if you could lose some weight." And we talked about needing to lose weight while I ate pound cake she'd made for me. And that's, because we didn't make the connection, and she wasn't going to deprive me of her love, which was her pound cake. Mm-hmm. And so, so I've just always loved to cook, as I've loved to eat, and I love feeding people. And I kind of take that, my family laughs now because y'all make a recipe. I'm like, "Here, try this." And they're afraid to tell me if they don't like it. So we have a joke. They're like, "Please don't make us try any more recipes." We have a joke. But so I don't have any real formal training. I know what I like. And then my family's real picky. So if it passes their test, then it's usually okay to share.
All right. And what was it like then, the longer you started to do this, as you realized, this is actually a way I could live. Like, this is awesome. Like, did your family jump on board with you as well? Did they kind of, the typical experience, like they started seeing the food you're eating and they're like, "That looks really good. I want to eat that too." Like, were they resistant? Like, what was their reaction at first?
Yeah, my husband, the one who said, "No way, not doing this." But 2 weeks into it, we sat down at dinner one night and he said, "So tell me what to eat." I'm like, "What do you mean what to eat? What's on your plate? You what I fixed." And he said, No, I've lost 10 pounds. He lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks, still drinking Pepsi, which, I don't recommend. But he had been eating what I cooked. And he was just amazed at how delicious the food was. Mm-hmm. And so it was after that 2 weeks that he got on board. Now, as husbands will, he needed to maintain that little power thing or control or whatever it was. And so he would take Fridays off. Like one day a week, he could eat what he wanted to, which again, I don't recommend. Mm-hmm. But he would take his day off, and he still lost a lot of weight. And eventually he called me one day. I read about this. He called me on his way home from work on a Friday afternoon and said, "You ruined it." And I was like, "I ruined what?" And he said, "You ruined it." And so on Fridays, he would have a Pepsi, 1 can of Pepsi, and we did the cans to limit portions for him. And because he couldn't be trusted with more than that. And I went to get my Pepsi. I've been waiting all week for this, and it didn't taste good. And so that was it. That was when he gave up soft drinks. He still will have a diet soft drink every now and then, which I don't do, but he does. But so he was on board after that. He kept asking, I'd make dinners, and he'd say, "Are you sure you can eat this? Are you really, is this something I can have?" "Yes, this is our diet food." And then our daughter had just always kind of been at the top of the weight charts. Her pediatrician been really unhappy with us. Limit give her skim milk. Don't give her juices. I'm like, "I don't give her juices." And of course, I'd given her low-fat cheese since she was 3. But anyway, so I gave her a book to read, and she actually read Dr. Davis's Sweet Belly book. It was really simple, and she was 10 at the time, and she knew that my mother, her grandmother, had diabetes, and she was fearful. She's a fairly smart kid, and so she read that book, and so she made the decision for herself, because I just said early on with the kids that, especially with her at the age which she was, I wasn't going to battle that. I was going to provide the information, I was going to provide the support, I was going to provide the delicious food for her, that she has to make that decision. Because if I control the food so tightly at home, when she's not in the home, what is she going to do? What decision is she going to make? And so that's where, really kind of compromised. And she, I know there are times when she's been away at camps where she's had very difficult decisions to make, where it's been hard. Overnight things with friends have been hard. I always try to pack food, and I send food for everybody. And so I might make a taco bake that I know everybody can enjoy, and that way she has something. But like she'll text me, she'll say, "Mom, they're eating goldfish and cupcakes for breakfast." Yes, sleepovers. But Grace always has something that she can enjoy too. So that's part. I think that's part too of like the appeal. People watch the YouTube channel because they see me with my family. They see me being a goofball. Like they see me, screw things up, always screwing things up. But it's also very much a lifestyle because it is stuff that my family would eat. Not Mom over here with her little diet portion of food, but it's food that I'm taking to family gatherings. I love to share the food that we have, and when we go to potlucks or we go to celebrations, like I put my food on a buffet, even though it's my diet food. Usually people come to it first, and I rarely take home a dish that isn't completely empty.
Isn't that fun? Like people worry in the beginning about like, oh, why am I going to take this event and how am I going to resist all this other stuff? And the ironic thing is that whatever dish you bring, that everybody who's not following a keto diet is going to think it's the most delicious thing there because it's all this high fat stuff that they've been avoiding for so long. They're like, are you sure this is so good? So it makes it easier or pretty easy to go to gatherings like that, especially when people are raving about the food you're bringing. Like, are you sure this is diet food?
It's true. And I love that. And it's like proving them wrong kind of thing. And they'll be like, you're little and you're eating this. And I'm like, it's like the best food of my life. And I'm wearing the smallest clothes of my life. And yeah, what is not to love about this? Sign me up. And I use a hashtag. It's hashtag ask me if I miss bread. And I'll put up non-scale victories, or I'll put up, clothing I'm wearing or something, or before and after picture, and I'll put hashtag ask me if I miss bread. And the thing is, when you think about it, because people will say to me, when you say, oh my God, you look great, or look at your picture, or, I know you've always struggled, what have you done? And I tell them, and they'll say, oh, I love pasta. Oh, yeah. I love bread. Oh, I can never give up bread. And I'm like, okay, let me tell you what I gave up. I gave up 3 different pain medications. I gave up epidural steroid injections. I gave up sitting in the car while my family went for hikes. I gave up feeling miserable about who I am. That's what I gave up. Bread has no flavor if you don't put butter on it. It has no flavor if you don't have that ooey gooey melted cheese. Throw that crap away and eat the cheese, the ooey gooey, wonderful, amazing cheese. That's what you get to have. You get to have the butter. You get to have the bacon. You don't need that other stuff. That causes inflammation. That's what keeps you deprived. What keeps you deprived is being locked in the fat suit every single day of your life. Bread or my healthy, active life with my kids is no-brainer. There's no decision to be made there.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And I love that perspective because it's so empowering, right? Because especially the cohort I came from, they look at diets as like, deprivation, and we're instilling something mean and painful on people. But you're right. It's so empowering to be able to make those choices, feel awesome and great, and be able to have the life that you've always wanted and the health that you've always wanted. So how did you get connected with the Diet Doctor group? Tell us some about your work that you're doing with them.
I have gotten to talk about freedom and deprivation. I have gotten to do some of the most fun stuff on the planet, especially in the past 4 or 5 months. So Diet Doctor, they did an email and called for stories. And so a friend of mine said, you need to send them your story. And I was like, okay. And she kind of nagged me, and it took me 3 or 4 months, and I sent my story. And they published it on their website. And it was just, something I had written, and it had my before and after picture. And then they asked about working with them. And so I did a Skype with Andrea Sandhills and the Diet Doctor. And it was so surreal. I'll never forget that morning because it was like, and it was fairly early for me and because of the time difference. And we did the Skype, and he said, we've been a fan of yours. Like, they have been watching my YouTube videos. Like, how crazy is that? And he said, you're writing, he said, you're a good writer. I don't know what he had actually read that I'd written. But anyway, he said, would you, like to do blog posts for us? And I love to write because I do have that background. And I said, sure, I'd love to do that. And then he said, and I think one of your strengths are your videos. And he said, we want to come to your house when we come to North Carolina and use your kitchen and do some cooking videos. And I was like, what? Like, no way. You're from Sweden. You're going to come to North Carolina. And I actually said, I was a little more composed than that. Actually, well, it might be easier to bring me to Stockholm. You could just send me there, and that way your cameras, your crew, I could use the kitchen there. And he said, no, Kristie, it needs to be authentic. People identify with you in your kitchen. And he said, could we come there? And so I was like, sure, that'd be awesome. And so we started the process of working back and forth with recipes that would be appealing to folks on his site. And it's just been exciting to be part of their team. I actually am on their website. I have a Diet Doctor email address. I feel so official with this email address. And when we were at Low Carb USA, he and I did an interview. Actually, that was recently released. The interview of me telling my story with him. And we did a trailer for the cooking videos. So there'll be 12 videos coming out at probably late October 2017. The first ones will be available. And they were here in September, and we were doing the videos, and it was so bizarre. They came in, so I picked them up at the airport in Raleigh, because I live an hour and a half south of there. I mean, we're out in the country around here, right? And I'm worried about what are they going to think of this North Carolina, and because they haven't been to rural parts of North Carolina, but I brought them in. It was late that night, so the next morning they come over from the hotel. Holy cow, 4.5 or 5 hours of setting up cameras, microphones. I've got these two like chandeliers hanging over the table, microphones hanging from the chandeliers, lights, reflectors, screens, cameras, tripods everywhere. We had to cover up the lights with this blue film. They've got ladders. I mean, it just, I go to open a drawer to get, utensil, and there's tripods in front of them. And so we had to move things literally from our kitchen into the laundry room, because the laundry room has a sink. And so we had to move things in there. I got a mini fridge, like a dorm-sized fridge, to put in there, because while we were videotaping, we couldn't have any noise. So no one could chop food, couldn't wash dishes. The dishwasher couldn't be running. We even had to, the fridge, I didn't want the fridge running, the air conditioner, we had to turn that off because of the hum. I know, all these details. And, so the clothes, I brought up my clothes, I'm going to wear this, and they'd say, no, that's not going to look good on camera. Okay, so I'm going to wear this. And they would take, so I actually wore this jacket. They would take it and tape the microphone. So the microphone is taped into my clothes. Then I have to go change clothes again. So I was wearing one thing to prep the food. And then one shirt, they cut a hole in the pocket to put the, so anyway, so it was just crazy. It was so much fun. And we worked, oh my goodness, we started around 8:30 and 9 in the morning, and we worked until 9 or 9:30 at night. And I had a couple of special guests who joined us to come in and taste stuff. So I can't wait for people to see that.
How much fun, and the height difference. People have never seen Dr. Andreas. He's like nearly 7 feet tall, and so he's literally almost twice as tall as you, right? Did you guys have to do some standing on stools or anything like that, or make him kneel down so that they could capture both of you, or is he in the videos?
So he's not part of the cooking videos. He actually
okay.
Piece. What he is, I think he's 6'7". I'm 5 foot nothing.
Yeah.
So not only is he extremely tall, I'm extremely short, as you know. We hung out together. So when we did the interview, I had to sit on pillows. You probably won't know this. It's kind of behind the scenes thing, but I'm sitting up on pillows even when we're sitting, because there's such a profound difference. But the guest, everybody came in to do a guest portion of the video with me had to sit on a stool. So I'm standing in the kitchen, and they're sitting on a stool beside of me, because otherwise they're not in the frame. So that's another kind of a fun thing too. But yes, I can't wait. I'm a little nervous about the videos coming out, because you just don't know how well those are going to be received, and they're edited. But it was really a lot of fun and really wild. And I've gotten to work with Eric Westman some, because he's right up the road. I did a whole weekend of cooking classes. And so Dr. Westman came down, and we did a Sunday morning walk in the park. and his company had t-shirts, Full Care had t-shirts for everybody. And so we've had, I've had done some fun collaboration. I've gotten to do fun podcasts like this with you, and I've gotten to know you a little better, which has been wonderful. I love the work that you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, how much fun. I can't wait to see that. So after that whole experience, did you kind of, look at your YouTube and go like, oh my gosh, I got to change this and change that? Or, but like they know, people love the authenticity. Like you don't have to make it really fancy and polished like that for it to help a lot of people. So
Thank you. What's wild is that when I did some Facebook posts and showed like the cameras behind the scenes and how the kitchen had been taken over. And it was really interesting because a couple of people said, well, I hope it's not too polished. Mm-hmm. And of course, when the diver team left, I'm looking around going, do I need to buy lights? Do I need to get a real camera? Do I need to do, and I thought, you know what? I'm still going to do this. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, this is not about what I look like. This is not about what my kitchen looks like. This is about giving people good, practical information, recipes that they can make, mm-hmm. that they can serve their family. A lady posted just recently, she had have a carrot cake cheesecake recipe that I love, and she made it for her husband for his birthday. And he said, gosh, I love it almost as much as I love you. And he was so happy to have this. He's diabetic, and he was so happy to have this as an option for his birthday. She was thrilled to have it to give to him. That's why I do this. I mean, that's the only reason for doing this. 110,000 people on Facebook, and you know how much money I made off Facebook? Nothing. I'm not doing it for the money. I don't charge people to be in that group. And Lord knows if I got paid for every hour I spent working in there, I'd be, off in Jamaica somewhere. I would, be independently wealthy. But that's not why I do it either. I do it because what pays me are those kinds of comments. Like, Kristie, Christmas morning, we had your gorilla bread. And I'm like, yes, so do we. That's awesome. Because if you don't have those things, and I think, people have different approaches to it, but I think it's not for me especially. Because I'd always cooked, because I'd always loved people through food. If I didn't have those things with the sweeteners and some of the low-carb treats and desserts, I wouldn't have done this. I would have gone through the first holiday totally off the rails. But as it was, this will be our 5th holiday season coming up. And as it is, we've been able to stay on plan and often even lose weight throughout the holidays. I mean, who does that? Mm-hmm. Still go to all the parties, have fun, celebrate, create new non-food traditions with the family, which is really important to me now. Yeah, and so we kind of have our cake and eat it too. So we're being really healthy, but we're still having fun. And, I probably don't make as many treats as I did a few years ago because it is so much less about the food for me. Because I finally figured out that all the time I was spending in the kitchen, I wasn't spending with my children or loved ones. And so I started minimizing some of what, instead of doing 50 things, I would do 49 or 45. But yeah, so I think that's been an important part of this too.
Wonderful. So what are your top tips for somebody that's considering this lifestyle?
Okay.
For starting out, and then, how do you go into this as a lifestyle rather than as one more diet that they're trying?
Okay, so the very, very first thing is I would say count all the carbs. Figure out what a carbohydrate is and count it. And keep them minimal. For me, I have to stay under 20 total carbs per day, and that's part of Dr. Westman's plan. And I do count total carbohydrate. I don't subtract that. So 1, find the carbs, count them, and don't eat them. That's the first. The second thing is focus on what you can have. What you can have. Let me make sure I say it clearly. Focus on the delicious foods that are low carb that you love, because that's what's going to sustain you. Third thing, this is something that I did, dumb luck probably, but I decided that I had to cook differently. And as a mom, busy mom, working full time, 2 kids involved in every activity known to God and man, I had to have those quick meals. My quick meals were frozen chicken nuggets, frozen lasagna. Well, you can't do that when you're doing a low carb lifestyle. And so I decided to replace those. So I committed to doing 2 new recipes per week. Usually it was on a Saturday or Sunday. 2 new recipes, and they could be simple. It could be a low-carb guacamole, but those 2, doing that on the weekends, I could try it out on the family, and if they liked it, I put it in rotation, and it was usually something pretty easy or something I could throw in a crock pot. or something I can prep on the weekend and then make during the week. So that's the other thing. So first of all, find the carbs and count them. Second of all, eat the food you love. You don't have to eat avocado if you don't like them. And then add new recipes to your rotation. Easy things that fit your lifestyle you could afford, that your whole family is going to enjoy. Don't try to, and then I guess the next would be, don't try to make different meals for them. You know, if you just start giving them that yummy food that they like, they're going to be on board with you.
Yeah. Lovely. I love it all. Well, just in kind of wrapping this up, was there anything else that you were hoping I would ask you about or that you wanted to share?
The only other thing I would add is I am working on, like you, working on another book, a second book, and I don't know when it's going to be out, but I'm excited about it because it really is kind of I think right now the working title is Keto Living Day by Day. And it is a guide really to getting started. And it's a guide to making the transitions, I talk about the social setting and how do you handle that, how do you handle the pressure. And so that's kind of the next fun things that I'm working on. In addition to working with the diet doctor and other people, that's the really big thing that I'm trying to get out now, because I really think that, you know, people see the success stories of keto. But I think they see that, okay, this person's here. They've gone down the journey from the size 22, 24 to the size 6'8". How do I get there? And maybe it's even a doctor saying you're diabetic, don't eat carbohydrate. Well, you wake up the next morning and what's in your fridge? Cereals and banana and bagels. And so you're sitting there, you know, if you've ever done this, if you've ever stood there with the refrigerator door open going, oh my God, what do I eat? Then this is what this is about, that transition. And I'm sitting there going, here, eat this. It's simple, it's delicious, you're going to love it, and you're not going to be hungry. And so that's really my focus right now, is helping people with that, getting started and staying. Let's flip the switch and make this a lifestyle so that you're not saying in 6 months, I lost 50 pounds and then I gained 30 back. That's not what we want to happen. This needs to be for life. And so it's that day by day kind of thing.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I look forward to your next book coming out someday soon, and all the other great stuff that you're up to. And thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and spreading the word of, you know, healing and living a delicious, healthy lifestyle. So I've got one final question for you. We got news that the meteor's coming towards the planet today. We're all going to be wiped out. Last day on the earth. What is going to be your final meal?
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't really, the funny thing is I bought what you were saying. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that on the news today. You know, I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier, that meal that I love, my big, fatty, juicy hamburger made with 73% lean meat. And I'm going to put probably, I don't know, some kind of cheese. I might put all the cheese. I might put the blue cheese and the goat cheese and the mozzarella. I'm going to put all the cheese. And I'm going to put that fried egg right on top. And I'm going to break the yolk and let the yummy fatty goodness of that yolk run into the burger. And I'm going to clean the plate. Oh, and bacon. I'm going to have bacon with it too.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I wondered when you were talking about that earlier if that was going to be your answer, and it definitely was. So.
That or a chuck-eye steak. I don't know if you've ever had a chuck-eye steak. It's going to be something really easy to make.
Yeah, gotta hurry, it's coming.
That's right.
Oh, Kristie, thank you so much. I love hanging out with you and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys like this interview, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. We've got all our links down there in the show notes. I'm going to put the books that she mentioned as well, linked down there too. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Carole. You're awesome.
Oh, you too, Kristie. Bye, everybody.